On July 21st, 2026, at the Farnborough Air Show, Airbus announced potentially one of its cleverest moves this year. It plans to modify an A321 with dramatically extended wingtips as part of a new test program that could help shape the eventual successor to the A320, the most successful airliner family in modern history. At first glance, it sounds simple enough. Longer wings are more efficient, so Airbus wants them. But there's a problem with this idea. The very airports that made the A320 so successful were designed around aircraft of up to 36 metres in wingspan, almost exactly the A320's wingspan of 35.8. Make the wing too long, and the next generation of narrow-body airliners may no longer fit neatly at the gates, taxiways, and stands they've always used. So Airbus is now exploring a radical solution and following the footsteps of the 777X. An aircraft could effectively become larger in the air and small again on the ground. So what exactly has Airbus announced? Why does it need this technology now? And could folding wings really become part of the future of short-haul flying? But to understand why Airbus is considering something this radical, we need to think of the A320 as a victim of its own success. Its basic design first flew in 1987, and Airbus has since spent almost 4 decades extracting more performance from the same platform. They stretched it into the A321, they added new engines and shockless with the Neo, and they developed the long-range A321 LR and XLR. But as even Airbus's CEO Guillaume Faury said himself, the A320's lifespan is extraordinary. Usually manufacturers make a generational transition every 20 to 25 years, but the A320 is set to last for 40 or 50. So Airbus is now targeting a 25 to 30% reduction in fuel burn for a new aircraft potentially entering service in the second half of the 2030s. To achieve that, it's evaluating lighter materials, advanced engines, more integrated electrical systems, and crucially for us, longer wings. But this is where Airbus's announcement becomes a little more complicated than the headlines suggest. The company is not immediately fitting an A321 with a complete operational folding wing system like the one developed for the 777X. Instead, over the next 3 years, Airbus will design and manufacture several different full-scale wing extensions, each measuring several meters, and attach them to an A321neo test aircraft. These extensions will replicate the shape of a folding wingtip once it's been fully extended for flight. In other words, Airbus initially appears to be testing the aircraft with its hypothetical folding tips already unfolded, and not necessarily with all the mechanisms that would move them on the ground. Airbus hasn't yet published the final aircraft's wingspan, exactly how long each extension will be, when the first flight will occur, or even the confirmed extensions themselves will physically fold. But that doesn't make the experiment insignificant. Each configuration will be packed with sensors, allowing engineers to measure how the extended wings behave under real aerodynamic loads, and how the much greater pressure span changes the A321's handling. But why exactly do these longer wings help? Well, it really comes down to induced drag. Near each wingtip, higher pressure air beneath the wing curls around towards the lower pressure air above, creating vortices that tilt part of the wing's aerodynamic force backwards and reducing fuel efficiency. One of the most effective ways to reduce this is to increase the wing's aspect ratio, or make it longer and narrower. By spreading lift across the greater span, the influence of the tip vortices is reduced. And it's the exact same principle with a glider. You may have noticed they have super long wings, and that's exactly why. It allows them to be much more energy efficient. Airbus already uses the same broad principle with the A320 sharklets, which it says can reduce fuel consumption by up to 4%. But a completely new wing could go much further. As with all of these sort of things, there is a trade-off. The further the tip extends from the fuselage, the greater the bending loads at the wing root, strengthening the structure as weight, which can cancel out some of the aerodynamic saving. Airbus must therefore calculate the point where a longer wing still produces a worthwhile net benefit. And there's also another major factor they'll need to consider: ground infrastructure. So here's what you need to know. Airports group different aircraft into infrastructure categories according to characteristics like their wingspan in order to provide facilities like gates and services. And under the Aerodrome reference system used across Europe and much of the world, Code C covers aircraft with wingspans from 24 metres up to, but not including, 36 metres. The A320 and A321neo have wingspans of 35.8 metres, leaving them just 20 centimetres beneath the upper limit. And this system is not something that Airbus can just ignore. Remaining inside the Code C allows the A320 family to use an enormous global network of gates, taxiways, and stands created for conventional narrow-body aircraft. But if it success across that 36-metre boundary with a fixed wing, it would become a Code D aircraft by wingspan, placing it the same broad infrastructure category as aircraft measuring up to 52 metres across, like the Boeing 767 or MD-11. And that change would basically affect everything. Airport standards require greater separation around larger aircraft. For example, EU design specifications normally require 4.5 metres of clearance around a Code C aircraft stand, but it's 7.5 metres for Code D. The required overall width of a straight taxiway and its shoulders also rises from 25 metres for Code C to 38 for Code D. At a newly built airport, that extra space can be included in the design. But at older, more tightly packed hubs, every metre matters. That doesn't mean an aircraft wider than 36 metres would be unable to visit major airports. Many already handle much larger widebodies, and airports can often use designated stands or special procedures. But the next A320, or at least a successful one, cannot afford to become a specialised visitor. The A320's commercial strength depends on being modular, standardised, and able to fit almost anywhere. Airbus has already said that the aerodynamically optimal span for a future single-aisle aircraft would be significantly longer than the A320's current 35.8 metres. So the solution is to make the aircraft longer in the air than on the ground. Once clear of the gate and any restrictive taxiways, the tips could unfold to create the long, efficient wing Airbus wants. After landing, they could fold back inside the Code C envelope, allowing the aircraft to become larger when span is useful and smaller when space is scarce. And you may recognise this exact strategy from a particular new Boeing aircraft, the 777X. The 777X's new composite wing stretches 71.8 metres across when fully extended, around 7 metres wider than the aircraft becomes on the ground. Once it lands, the outer 3.5 metres of each wing folds upwards, reducing the total span to 64.8 metres. This allows an aircraft with the aerodynamic span of a Code F widebody to continue using almost all of the Code E gates and taxiways already built for existing 777s. The 777X proves that a folding wingtip can be designed, flown, and incorporated into airport procedures. But is it right for a new A320? A narrowbody typically flies far shorter sectors, completes many more folding cycles, and operates from a much wider range of airports. It would also have to absorb the weight, maintenance, and cost of the mechanism on an aircraft where time and weight are much more valuable. So I guess what Airbus are really testing is this. Is the efficiency gained in the air substantial enough to justify all the complexity added on the ground? Airbus hasn't committed to putting folding wings on the aircraft that eventually replaces the A320. In fact, it's not initially testing the folding mechanism at all. It's first asking a much more fundamental question. How much more efficient could a genuinely longer narrowbody wing become? And how would an aircraft equipped with one actually behave? Only if the answer is promising does Airbus then need to solve the hinges, locks, weight, maintenance, and certification required to fold that wing on the ground. But if it succeeds, the result could be an aircraft that remains compatible with airport network built around today's A320, while becoming dramatically larger and more efficient whenever it takes to the air. And that could make folding wings one of the defining features of the next generation of short-haul flying. If you enjoyed this documentary, please consider subscribing. They take so long to produce, and it would really mean a lot. Thank you.